Hey guys, it's Haley. I just want you guys to know that I'm at an undisclosed location right now that nobody can know about because right now the FBI is out to find me. Why, you ask? Many reasons. But the main one is that this is actually an unreleased episode of Phineas and Ferb that they didn't want anyone to see because of how weird and controversial it was. Now, I was doing things on my computer. Freaking mine out of the gutter. I was reading Hamlet. And I stumbled upon the dark web. I bought this video, and I watched it, and I was like, you know what? Mr. Willette would appreciate this. So that's why I'm showing it to you today. So you're asking, Haley, but if you're there, then who is in my class? Okay, so you know the Avril Lavigne controversy? Yeah, it's kind of like that. But that one is like a kind of prettier version of me. So I'm like, I'm probably going to end up killing her off soon, which is fun and fresh. So, watch your back. The FBI is saying that I have to pay them 5 white cheddar Cheez-Its if I don't want to go to jail. And I love my white cheddar Cheez-Its. And that is a deal that I cannot compromise with. Anyways, enjoy this video. Hopefully I won't get found.
There's 104 days of summer vacation, and school comes along just to end it. So the annual problem for our generation is finding a good way to spend it. Like maybe building a rocket or fighting a mummy or climbing up the Eiffel Tower. Discovering something that doesn't exist or giving a monkey a shower. Surfing tidal waves, creating nanobots, or locating Frankenstein's brain.
It's over here!
Finding a dodo bird, painting a continent, or driving our sister insane.
Phineas!
As you can see, there's a whole lot of stuff to do before school starts this fall.
Come on, Barry!
So stick with us, cause Phineas and Ferb are gonna do it all. So stick with us, cause Phineas and Ferb are gonna do it all.
Mom! Phineas and Ferb are making a title sequence!
Hey Ferb, I'm bored. Have you ever wondered how Renaissance architecture shapes the modern world? Ferb, I know what we're gonna do today. Remember that time machine we invented way back? Let's use that to go back to the Renaissance. Hey, where's Perry? Whatever, we'll find him later. Look, Ferb, we're in Florence, Italy. Let's take a look at the first great architect to come out of this city.
Leon Battista Alberti lived from 1405 to 1472. He had many professions and was very talented. Alberti started getting interested in architecture in 1443 when the Pope returned. Alberti designed the Palazzo Rucellai, Santa Maria Novella, and Sant'Andrea. He worked on the Palazzo Rucellai, which was in Rimini, from 1445 to 1470. He used mathematics to make a symmetrical facade and got inspiration from the Colosseum in Rome. The Santa Maria Novella, which was made in Florence, is proportional because of mathematics. Alberti also used shapes which gave it a more natural look and gave the facade harmonic relations. Plus, Santa Maria Novella is the only church that kept the original plan of the facade. The Sant'Andrea is in Mantua, and its main features are the arches. The arches were inspired by the Arch of Titus, which stands for a political and religious statement, and the victories in the Jewish War, and also the Arch of Trajan, which honors the Emperor Trajan, and you can see it when you enter Benevento, Italy.
Cool, huh? Let's take a look at the other architect to come out of Florence.
Brunelleschi was an extremely talented man in Florence. His architecture career started with a trip to Rome with painter and sculptor Donatello. In Rome, he learned and viewed ancient Roman ruins and was inspired. Brunelleschi also had an architectural uprising in 1401 in a competition against Lorenzo Ghiberti. Architects were commissioned to create series of relief structures, essentially 3D sculptures, for doors on the Florence Cathedral baptistry. After losing the commission and his inspiring trip to Rome, he designed his most famous piece, the dome atop the Basilica of St. Mary of the Flowers. From there, he continued to construct revolutionary works such as the Church of St. Lorenzo. When his famous dome was being constructed, he created many of the machines used to construct it. From there, he was inspired to create more machines. Several lesser-known inventions of Brunelleschi are still used today and are essential to our modern world. Brunelleschi started the first modern patent for his invention of a river transport vessel to send and receive resources. Today, that is what we know as the boat, one of the most essential modes of transportation. His inventions also branched out to hydraulic machinery. Although he did not patent the hydraulic press, he is still historically considered the sole inventor. In his 70th year, he passed away. In modern-day Rome, you can still see his famous works standing today.
Florence is pretty cool, huh? Now let's go to the Venetian Republic. Let's ride!
Andrea Palladio was an Italian Renaissance architect who completed work in the Venetian Republic. He is considered to be one of the most influential individuals in the history of architecture. His ideas were derived from the Greeks and Romans. Palladio designed and constructed palaces, churches, and most importantly, villas. His villas were all similar, but each with its own twist set for the people living in them. He focused mainly on the ideas of symmetry and proportion throughout his work. Picture his two-story villas with strategically set staircases on each side for space management. His one-story villas had staircases that were tucked away or hidden. The main floor was mostly kitchen space. There was a cellar down below and lofting up above for storage. Some highlights of his first famous villas were their hillside views and simplistic style. Uniquely enough, he also wrote the 4 books of architecture, which helped propel his style of building called Palladianism. This style spread through 2 different centuries, and in Europe you can still see the influence it's had today.
Let's go to our last stop, filet. Fermented? Firmignano.
Donato Bramante was a very important architect in Renaissance time. He was known as a painter in his early on years, but then eventually moved on to architecture. His biggest architecture works that are still standing today is St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City. For the St. Peter's Basilica, he was the main architect that won a contest hosted by Pope Julius II. He really wanted to be the lead architect, but as he was working on it, it took a long time to build, and so he died before it was fully complete. Michelangelo took over and completed the basilica. Bramante was a great architect, but before he died, he didn't want everyone else to have the light. He wanted to have the light. So he convinced the Pope to let Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel. He thought that Michelangelo would fail because Michelangelo was normally a sculptor. Boy, was he wrong. Michelangelo did a fantastic job and is still admired today.
That's a lot of architecture for one day. Let's go home. Oh, it feels so good to be home.
Mom, Phineas and Ferb are time traveling to the Renaissance period again.
Actually, Candace, architecture is...
Where's Perry?
Ah, I see. The Renaissance Destroyer 3000! I will take over the Renaissance architecture and all who live in it. What's a platypus doing here? Perry the platypus? Perry, you have ruined my plan too many times, and you are not stopping them today. I will take over the architecture in the Renaissance, and I will find out what stops them. Perry, now that I've held you captive, I can tell you my plan. Honestly, architecture in the Renaissance was worth nothing. Stupid people, stupid buildings, stupid...
Actually, no it's not.
Phineas and Ferb trying to ruin my plans once again? It won't happen. You two and your stupid dog thing are trying to ruin my plans. I'm wiping the Renaissance architecture off the planet. It has nothing to do with the Renaissance.
Actually, Doof, you're wrong. Many architects, painters, sculptors, and musicians came out of the Renaissance. That's why we view the Renaissance as an era of creativity. Speaking of architecture, it's extremely essential to the Renaissance period.
All right, but how?
Architecture in our modern world is all derived from architects before us.
Okay, whatever. Just take this Perry thing.
It's so good to be all back home together. I'm gonna go take a nap. You like jazz? Okay, then I have no clue what the next one is. Never before stuck in lots of Maria. I forgot what I was gonna say.
You're the bee's knees.
Hey. Have you ever wondered how?
We should actually do that.
Okay.
Filet mignon, fermented, Fermignano.
God. Okay. Okay.